Hi kiddos, it's me Gracie. Nice to see you again. Welcome back to Virtual Sunday School. I hope you are ready to learn about our friend Jesus. He's kind of the best. We love him, we adore him. He's a pretty cool guy. Let's jump right into the lesson. Before we go into today's story, let's talk about what we've been learning about. So, Jesus, our friend, our guy, main man Jesus, he entered into Jerusalem and he was teaching all these people about these really cool things, healing people. Everyone was like, yeah, Jesus. But the priests were like, we're not a fan of Jesus. We don't like what he's doing. We don't like what he's teaching. And so they were like, let's kill him. And so somehow they managed to convince everyone in Jerusalem that Jesus was a bad guy. And so he died. They killed him. They hung him on a cross and he died. And then 3 days later, he was back and he rose again from the dead. And so we are celebrating his resurrection, and we're talking about what happened after he rose from the dead. So he's revealed himself to two different groups of people. First was the women, Mary Magdalene and the other ladies, and the second was Cleopas and his friend. We talked about that last week. And so today's story, we're going to talk about the last time that Jesus reveals himself after he is resurrected. So without further ado, here is today's story. It had been 3 days since Jesus had died. Sad and scared, Jesus' followers huddled together in the upper room on Sunday night. Their hearts were full of sorrow. They were sad and full of uncertainty and questions. How could this happen? How could Jesus die? Wasn't he the promised king who would bring God's kingdom? How could death be part of God's great rescue plan? Early in the morning, some of the women had gone to the tomb. They said that they had seen Jesus, but it couldn't possibly be true, could it? Peter and John went to look, but the tomb was empty. What happened to the body? They were confused and did not understand. Then suddenly there was a bang on the door, and two friends of Jesus, one named Cleopas, arrived from Emmaus with some wonderful news. It's true! Jesus really has risen from the dead! We've seen him! We've seen him! Cleopas and his friend told the disciples everything Jesus had taught them on the road and how they had recognized him as he broke bread and prayed for them at dinner. As the disciples continued to talk amongst themselves about these things, suddenly Jesus appeared to them and said, "Peace be with you." The disciples were terrified. They thought Jesus was a ghost. But Jesus said, "Don't be upset. Believe. What the woman and Cleopas have said is true. I really am alive. Look at me. Touch me." And Jesus showed them his hands and his feet. The disciples couldn't believe what they were seeing. It was too amazing, too good to be true. Jesus asked them, "Do you have any food here?" They gave him a piece of leftover fish they had cooked, and he took it and ate it right before their eyes. Then Jesus said, "Don't you remember all that I said while I was with you? God's big story is all about me, from beginning to end." Jesus showed the disciples how to see him in God's big story. He helped them to understand who he was. And finally, Jesus' friends understood, and then they believed, and they were glad. Jesus really was alive. Today, we can see Jesus by reading God's one big story in the Bible. Oh my gosh, I thought you'd never come back. Welcome back from story time. Let's talk about it. So, Jesus revealed himself to the women, and the disciples did not believe he was alive. Then he revealed himself to Cleopas on the road, and the disciples still didn't believe he was alive. And then he came in and he ate with them, and he showed them his hands and his feet, and the disciples still didn't believe him. But then when he talked about the Bible and he was explaining all about the Old Testament and creation and how God had planned from the very beginning to have Jesus come, that was finally when they understood and they believed that he was alive. When Jesus was able to explain the whole story of the Bible to them, just like he did to Cleopas on the road, and that's when they believed that he was really alive and their hope in Jesus was restored. Okay, it's time for discussion questions. Thank you. Question number 1. Why do we study the Bible every single Sunday together? We study the Bible because when we read the Bible, it helps us to know Him better, and it helps us believe that He's really real. And we can come together, we can talk about Him together and learn more and more every single Sunday by reading the words that God has spoken for us. Question number 2. How does the Bible help us get to know God? Personally, I think that when we read the Bible, we get to see more about what Jesus is like. It's like when you hang out with your friends, you learn more about what they like and what they don't like. You know what their favorite foods are, their favorite colors. When we read the Bible, we're spending time with God and we're making an effort to learn about what He likes and what He doesn't like, and that helps us get to know Him better. The best part is that Jesus wants to get to know us, and He wants us to have a relationship with Him. And so when we read the Bible, Jesus is going to show up, and through the Holy Spirit, He's going to speak to us and teach us stuff we couldn't possibly understand on our own. And so we all have the chance to learn and grow with Jesus in a relationship with Him, which is so cool. Lucky us. It's time for the outro, outro time. I'm trying this new thing where I make up theme songs. If you have any theme song suggestions for maybe like Living Waters Kids Church I can do at the start of the videos, let me know what your ideas are and I might do them. We shall see. I want to. New videos are coming up every single Sunday at 10 o'clock. So when Big Church is posted, Little Kid Church is posted. Little kid meaning small children, not little, because it's just as big, just as important, but it is Kids Church. It'll be posted 10 o'clock. Be there or be square. Also, subscribe to my channel, Living Waters Anglican Fellowship Kids Church. I know, it's a mouthful, but if you follow, you get notifications, and then you'll always know when I upload so you won't miss any, would be really sad. Don't miss my videos. The activity should be down below. Check out that link if you have problems with it. Send me an email. I will send it to you that way. I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I miss you guys so much. Be good. Be listening to your parents. I'm watching you even when I'm not. I know everything. You better be behaving, but also have some fun. I love you guys. Bye. Mwah.